Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to the Suit Up Geek Fix podcast. Today is episode 2, character power rankings of House of the Dragon. Yes, another strong episode for House of the Dragon. Joining me, my man Christian over there of Film Optics, at Film Optics on Twitter, wherever you get your podcasts. What is going on, Christian?
Not much, man. Just happy to be back, doing another power rankings. It's been pretty interesting so far, for sure.
Quick thoughts on episode 2, man. I got to hear it.
So episode 2 was it wasn't as like combat heavy, which is totally fine, but it really sets the chess pieces moving forward. A lot of seeds have been planted, a lot of I guess you could say a little bit of backstabbing here or there. It's really taking what we've known from Game of Thrones and really just giving it to us on the forefront, since episode 2 does take place, I think it's 6 months after the first episode. Some things have changed, some things haven't, but overall it's a great episode.
I agree. It slowed down the pace compared to the premiere, but that is right up my alley. I think we learned a lot more about the personalities. We learned a lot more about the specific characters that we'll be talking about today, breaking down. And I thought it was strengthening exceptionally especially one character that really stood out, as we'll talk about today. But let's briefly go into our week 1 power rankings. We had Rhaenyra, Daemon, and Otto all as S tiers. Alicent, Corlys, and Rhaenys A tiers. Viserys is a B tier. Sir Criston Cole a B tier. Mysaria, Mellos, and Harold Westerling. Mysaria and Mellos, the Grand Maester Mellos, as a C, and then Harold as an F. So we're going to kind of just briefly go over our week 2 power rankings, and we've got a couple new ones to throw on here. So let's just jump right in as I get this up. So yeah, we had Laena Velaryon, which was one of the most awkward scenes in the show to start. Already we're only in episode 2 and there's a multitude of awkward scenes. And then we've got the crab feeder, which we'll jump in. But what we're going to do here is go from S to F. And just as I nodded to earlier, I thought Rhaenyra was the star of episode 2. I'm not moving Rhaenyra whatsoever. She is the best part of this show so far. The way she confronted, in the most badass way imaginable, Daemon on that bridge, that was terrific. The cinematography of the dragon coming in on the dragon was awesome. The way she proposed a plan to take down the crab feeder during the council meeting, and she was 100% right, but she got shut down. I mean, everything Rhaenyra, and she had some really powerful character moments between her and her father, and her and her friend, your ex-friend, I guess, I don't know, or now mom, Alicent. For me, Rhaenyra is number 1. Any thoughts on that?
No, I think she's still number 1. Like you said, she was able to, I mean, if you haven't seen the episode, I won't say anything just yet, but she was able to establish dominance in certain ways within episode 2. I mean, keeping her at the S tier for now is a safe bet.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think Daemon should definitely stay. I would love to hear your thoughts on Daemon. I thought he kind of took a backseat in episode 2, but that doesn't take anything away, because I think him teaming up with Corlys, and we're going to be talking a lot about Corlys soon. But what's your take on Prince Daemon?
I would actually knock him down a peg to A, at least for this episode, but that's just me, just because Rhaenyra kind of put him in his place. She saw through, the game that he was trying to play, at least for this episode as of now. Now, when it comes to next week's episode, or this week's episode, I should say, for episode 3, we just have to kind of sit and wait. But I feel like, she didn't knock him down just a peg, because she kind of saw through his little ruse and whatnot. So it kind of didn't leave him defenseless, but he's kind of caught off his guard a little bit, because obviously Rhaenyra showing up wasn't a part of the plan of Dragonstone. So, but that's just me.
I am 100% keeping Otto at S tier. I think Otto had some strong moments in episode 2. He's just the biggest sleazebag and weasel of House of the Dragon so far. Ghostblood chimes in. Imagine if the Night King was here, he would destroy this ranking list. I love it. I think the way Otto was able to sneak Alicent in there, clearly Viserys and Alicent have a lot in common. They're both, I think, genuinely kind, innocent, naive, almost characters. I think she's a little older than Lena, as we'll talk about a little bit as well, but not much older.
It's really
not much older. It's still creepy as hell. But Otto is making plays. He might be a sleazebag, but he's a major player. I'm going to keep him in F. Any thoughts on Otto?
Well, I think keeping him in as S is totally fair, because he's the second most powerful man in Westeros. He knows how to play the game. He knows how the king operates. He knows how to manipulate the king into thinking ideas are, his own, instead of Otto just telling him straight out, like, hey, here's what I think you should do. Because it's really more of, obviously, the king is there, but with having a hand of the king, it almost makes it to where the king is kind of a figurehead, but not really. Because, he does have his board of advisors, but the power shift is them, hey, we're here to serve you. But as we've seen with Viserys, he's a good man, but it doesn't necessarily make him a good king.
Yeah.
And that kind of, it's going to bite him in the butt, I think, especially with Otto's ulterior motives.
Yeah, I'm going to jump right into this because it leads directly into Viserys. Last week we had him at a B, and I fully agree. Like, if there's one thing to learn about episode 1 and 2, is that everyone around him, whether it's Otto or Corlys or Daemon, you name it, they're all like 6 steps ahead of King Viserys. Like he's King Viserys is not even in the game. I'm gonna knock him down to a D tier. I just think he's so outclassed in so many different areas. He's never coming up with areas to address or a plan to address what is going on in Westeros. And even so, like, his main goal was to avoid war. His main goal was to attempt peace. And what does he do? He just literally set something into motion that's throwing the entire country into war with the whole choice of Alicent thing. So for me, I'm knocking him to a D.
Okay. Wow. That's crazy. I mean, I would probably put him more at a C, but that's just me. Only because, he has made mistakes. I mean, if you want to put him in the middle, that's fine.
Yeah.
But like, it kind of sucks for him because he hasn't really had.
Tyler's in the house saying Viserys is too busy running away. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it really shows that he's not fit to be king, but it's like he's faced with these impossible choices. Like, obviously within the first episode with his wife, like I said before, like she was gonna die either way. So guys, I'm just ripping that band-aid off now. It's whether he tries to just take a chance or like tries to save the babe, and then he's put with another, I guess, impossible task because he wasn't intending to remarry, and now it's like, oh well, your choices are a 12-year-old Valyrian, like pureblood, and or this slightly older, not really teenager that you've been kind of bonding with. So it's like, obviously he had to make a choice. I don't think Alicent was the right choice. It really is like lesser of two evils here. Like, it's a crappy situation for him. So this is like another crappy situation there. But he's not necessarily giving his daughter the attention that she deserves. If she is the heir, then she named him heir. He named her heir, excuse me. But I think between C and D for Viserys is it's fair for sure.
I just think like he doesn't understand the game. He's too
Yeah.
nice. He's too nice.
I don't think he knows if there's a game to be played.
Exactly, and like, well, and to be fair, like it's been years of peace, correct? Like they're like,
Well, yeah, King Jaehaerys, his grandfather before him, who named him heir, had like, that was like 60 plus years of peace. And I feel like Viserys is trying to like recreate that or keep that going.
yeah,
But, it's never the same.
yeah, and like I think like his biggest wild card was Daemon, who clearly loves Viserys, and
Yeah.
I just think King Viserys is like he's got his own bias that gets in the way of his judgment. So he's just not doing it for me. Do you have any other S tiers before we go into A?
I mean, like as in who should be in S tier?
Did anybody get bumped up?
Oh, Allison for sure. I mean, she's marrying the king, and so it's like that puts her in a different position of power. I feel like Rhaena is kind of just more of the same thing with Corlys. Obviously, there are things that Corlys is. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he has plans of his own. So I feel like keeping him in that spot makes a lot of sense.
I'm good with that.
Because, I mean, he hasn't necessarily lost power, but he hasn't really gained it either. So Sir Christian Cole, I mean, he's now the knight that, protects the king. I mean, I would probably put him in A tier. Between A and B, at least for now, because he's almost there. He's been named. We haven't really seen anything that he's done yet, but he is the only knight out of the others that has actually seen real combat outside of, 20 knights. So, everyone else. Oh my gosh, we almost forgot about the two new. Crab Feeder.
Where do you think he goes?
We
don't really know much about Crab Feeder.
We don't, but we've seen the damage that he can do and what has been happening because it's clearly Balther and Corlys.
Exactly.
I'll probably put him maybe between B and C.
Okay, I'm good with that. Yeah, he's going to be like kind of the villain. It might be like a villain of the week type of thing.
If anything else, at least an obstacle of anything else. Yeah.
Where are we good with Corlys and Rhaenys at A tier?
I am if you are, but it just depends. I really don't forgot their daughter's name. I apologize.
Lena.
I don't know where she would fall. I mean,
she's definitely low tier.
Yeah, maybe C or D.
Okay.
It's hard to put her somewhere because I mean she had a chance. Put it right there. With Viserys where she belongs.
Awkward. All right, so Christian Cole is at needed beer. I think Corlys and Rhaenys have like major upside here. Heading into episode 3, I mean, you have the Sea Snake. He's got the, the fleet.
Yeah.
And then he's got Daemon, who's got the dragon. Like they've got air and sea moving forward. So I definitely think there's no upside to those. Tyler says Lena's wig gets an F.
Hey, no.
All right, we're gonna knock into a D. That was horrible.
Oh my gosh. She'll give the king many children. Dairy and blood.
All right, so we're good there. Mysaria at a C. Should that change? Should I go up? Should that go down? Stay the same? Any thoughts?
She seems to be kind of like not with it with Daemon. I guess you could keep her the same. I don't know what to do with the Maester, honestly. He's kind of just there. I actually put him down.
I want to bump him down.
Yeah. Yeah.
he didn't really have any impact in episode 2. Really.
No, I mean the Maesters. I mean they're literally everywhere. So it's like some people kind of believe that they are like kind of like the Court of Owls when it comes to like these secrets.
Exactly.
We're not a secret society, but like they're able to pull the strings of these high lords and ladies into bidding. But we haven't really seen anything from him. So it's Crap feeder, yeah. I mean, I feel bad for Viserys. I like him.
I don't at all. I mean, he's one of those guys that like, he's a good guy. He's a good king. And this is Game of Thrones. This is not like Game of Nice People. Caitlyn's in the house saying, "Hi guys, thanks for joining."
Yeah, what happened with Ned Stark when he tried to do the
yeah, exactly. Look what happened. Nice guys finish last in Game of Thrones. That's just the way.
Not like Viserys is necessarily doing the right thing as well, because he is kind of ignoring his daughter. Like he's kind of. I mean, he's kind of pushed her away in the side. It's like, well, 6 months it happens, and the first shot we see is that she's still a cupbearer, and it's like, what? Was she not just named heir? Like, but she's still doing the same thing, and it's like, I mean, she brings these great ideas to the table. He shoots her down.
Yeah.
But Corlys understands how, I don't know. I mean, there could be some more interesting marriages happening. I mean, Corlys does have 2 kids, so you never know.
You never know. And then Harold, should we keep him at an F? I mean, nothing really changed there.
Yeah, I mean, like, he's a nice guy. He does his job well. He's probably one of the few people who understand Princess Rhaenyra. But yeah, he doesn't really seem any motives or. I mean, like, he's a good character. Like, I mean, but it's we haven't really seen too much from him so far. We're only 2 episodes in. So.
Yeah. So yeah, here we are. This is our episode 2 character power rankings. Alicent is up. I think Otto had a slight boost up, even though he's in the same tier. Definitely the little finger of House of the Dragon for sure. Daemon got bumped down just a little bit, but I think that doesn't take away from his character whatsoever. Amazing character.
I think it's that Christian Cole got he got a promotion. So
Christian Cole got a promotion.
He got that nice little raise.
And really, King Viserys got the bump down.
I mean, yeah, I would probably, like, if it was just me making the decision, I would probably at C, but that's me, because it's like he's not out of the race yet. Like, he's still king, but it just, a lot of unfortunate things happens to this man. So it kind of sucks. But
he lost his wife 6 months later. He's still like, he can't get over it, man. Sorry, Game of Thrones does not wait for you to get over.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't want to remarry, and everyone's kind of pushing him to remarry because his mind was kind of made up. Like, oh, once I die, it'll be Rhaenyra. But
you got to be cold blooded, man. You got to be cold blooded in this. You
got to show your dominance, and
put emotions to the side. And I don't think Viserys does that well. He gets too caught up in his emotions, and that impacts his judgment in so many different areas. So that's why I knocked him down to a D. So, that pretty much wraps up. Any final thoughts and I guess plugs? Where can we find you, man?
Again, thank you so much for having me on. It'll be very exciting to do these weekly videos, these weekly power rankings. But for everyone out there listening and or watching, you can find my podcast, Film Optics, that is Optics with an X, on audio podcast platforms around the internet. That includes Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and more. We have a lot of crazy stuff coming up. Of course, we're going to be covering House of the Dragon, spoiler free, of course, on the podcast. Our episode 1 and 2 spoiler free reviews are up on podcast platforms around the internet. And we're also covering She-Hulk week to week as well. And for those who are big Avatar: The Last Airbender fans, we've been going through each book. We just finished up book 2, Earth, for our series Revisited. So that's up on the up on podcast platforms around the internet as well. But yeah, other than that, it's been so crazy, man. I mean, there's a few movies coming out here and there, but I think our main focus right now is definitely She-Hulk and House of the Dragon. Maybe do a little Rogue One, a revisited rewatch, because we got Andor coming up, and like later on in September. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Of course, you can find us on Twitter at Film Optics. Again, that's Optics with an X.
Awesome, man. Awesome stuff. As always, go check out Film Optics. Amazing show. We are on the eve of the Rings of Power.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I almost forgot about that, man. It's so great.
I can't believe that. Yeah, like you said, so much. It's just, we have a She-Hulk review coming tomorrow around 7 p.m. East Coast time. Then Rings of Power will be going down tomorrow night, but I think we're doing those shows on Friday.
Yeah. I mean, Rings of Power on Friday, Game of Thrones on Sunday. It's like
unreal.
Nerd's dream come true.
It's amazing, man. It's amazing. I'm so happy, and I'm just really happy about the quality that we've seen so far from House of the Dragon. Because in so many ways, this could have gone wrong, and I like the kind of step back from the pace from everything else. Like really kind of had some characters shine this week, and that makes me really excited. Caitlin says, see you tomorrow for the She-Hulk stream. Absolutely. That'll be 7 p.m. East Coast time. Thanks for it's an hour earlier than last week. Yes. I had COVID last week. So yeah, that sucked. Oh, it's 1 a.m. instead of 3 a.m. Oh my God. Caitlin, where are you? Where do you live? Let me know. So you must be overseas or something. So anyway, yeah, like you said, you have Rings of Power, you have Andor, you have Cobra Kai. I know I'm probably missing
Elementary season 2 as well, which is really good. Yeah, Abbott Elementary is good too. It's just she's in Belgium.
That's awesome. I one time we went from Amsterdam to France on a train, and we went through Belgium. That's the most I've ever done in Belgium.
Yeah,
I see it from a train, which is pretty badass.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've always wanted to go to Germany.
Yeah. All right. So thank you everyone for watching. Go check out my man Christian and his podcast Film Optics. You will thank me later. That is at Film Optics on Twitter or wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week for episode 3 of our power rankings, and of course Sunday night right after House of the Dragon, we'll do a quick reaction and review of the episode. Man, it's like you said, it's a fantasy fans dream to be covering Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings at the same time, and it's just going to be a blast. So like I said in an earlier show, like these two shows are going to own me for the next 2 months.
They really are. I mean, I've heard really great positive reviews about Lord of the Rings as well. No, a lot of people were worried. I was like, well, I feel like obviously everyone's going to be comparing them down the line. I mean, it doesn't even matter which one ends up being my preferred. It's just I'm glad that we're getting some of the best TV we can possibly get right now, because TV has definitely outshined films this year. But it's honestly, yeah, films have been pretty light this year. TV taking over, man. I mean, there's nothing better than a good TV show.
All right, so we are wrapping it up. We will see you tomorrow for She-Hulk at 7 p.m. East Coast time. For Christian, for myself, stay awesome, everyone.